couch, I have Mr. Swifter.
Good to be here.
Good to see you. And John from Aspire. How are you, man? It's
Excellent,
good to
sir.
see you, dude.
Great
We're
to
here
be
to
here.
talk about Observer. And I wanted to call it Carrot Observer underscore. But that's not what it is.
It's a coder's dream of a title, I think.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about this. Just give us the cool back of the box synopsis.
Absolutely. We're pumped about Observer. It's from Bloober Team out of Krakow. Their first game, you may know, is Layers of Fear.
Right.
This is
There's a
their
lot of
follow-up.
fans of that shit.
Uh-huh.
I know, and that was like great psychological horror, storytelling.
Yep.
But now we're up in our game. We're taking this to the year is 2084. You're in Krakow, Poland. Actually, it takes place in a building that's really in Krakow now, modeled after it.
Oh, wow.
Little bit of backstory here. You play as an observer. Observers are neural detectives. They have the authority to hack and invade suspects' minds in order to gather evidence and solve crimes. Now, to the people of Krakow, they fear observers because this is like the ultimate sort of dystopian Big Brother police abuse you can imagine.
Right. Nowhere, if you, like your mind's not even safe, right? Like.
Yeah, it's not like they're invading your home; they're invading your head.
Right.
So you play as Dan Lazarski, an observer, and you get to this. You're looking for your missing son, basically. Your son is a high-level engineer for Chiron Corporation. Chiron is like the ultimate dystopian cyberpunk Tyrell Corporation.
I was going to say, it sounds ominous.
Oh yeah, they're bad dudes. And his son is an engineer there, and he goes dark. And Dan's been looking for him. Now, even though he's a cold-blooded observer on one hand, this old grizzled cop, he's also a father.
Of course. Right.
And so he's tracks his message to this apartment building, but he quickly stumbles upon a murder scene as he gets here. Now, as he is a detective, he's going to take it upon himself to solve these murders and see what's going on and hopefully get one step closer to tracking down Adam, his son, as well.
Wow.
It's some pretty trippy stuff because it takes place half in the real world,
Right.
where you're a detective. You have some implants. This is a world of cybernetic
Okay.
arms and legs and retinal implants. He has one in his left eye for biological evidence. His right eye is for electromagnetic evidence. So you're going to be scanning clues, solving puzzles, being a detective in the real world. But then on his right hand, he has the Dream Eater, the DR3AT, created by Chiron. This is this little clasp that shoots inside a suspect's head, and that's what allows you to access someone's mind.
That is funky, man. And that is, God, that sounds so terrible.
Is it like a physical entry, or is it more just like
It is.
It is.
It makes a little squishy noise. Like,
Ooh. Oh, man.
yeah.
Where does it burrow into? Like your temple or?
There's a few different access points. I think it
Okay.
can go anywhere, but the idea is there is a neural implant, so you'll be able to scan a guy's head. You'll see the chip in there, and then you just connect with the Dream Eater. Dan pulls out this this cable. It's so visceral and
Yeah.
gross. I love it.
That's awesome.
Just sticks it right in there.
Jeez.
And then you're in his head. And when you're an observer, like walking around people's memories, these are their hopes, their fears, their best dreams, and their worst nightmares all together. And it's kind of like you're in someone's head who has like ADD because these kind of cut and bleed and jump together. That's where like Bloober Team can really bring the insanity that they so specialize in into the gameplay. When you have a level design that's like people's worst fears, it's
Yeah.
like an interactive nightmare to me. You're walking through a nightmare. The same way you walk and you run and you like can't get to where you need to go.
Oh my God, I hate those. I have dreams like that all the time where I can't figure out how to run.
I just had one 5 minutes ago.
So I mean, this is gonna take place in someone's mind and searching it. Like anything could really happen, right? Like you have like what's happening. All right, there we go.
It's really a personal journey for these guys too, because for instance, Amir in the gameplay demo we've been showing here at E3, Amir is an ex-con. He is a drug addict, and you're going to see that represented. It's very personal. He's like got the marks on the wall where he would count the days in prison, and you just kind of see that throughout the world. There's a time where he like grabs a spoon, and it's like a reference to drugs, and the spoon turns into a chain, and it's like this chain of addiction around him. So Bloopers, they're very symbolic. There's
Yeah, a lot of
meaning
symbolism.
here.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we talk about psychological horror, this is like psyche-logical horror. You're in that person's psyche. That's what you play.
Now I have a question.
I've never played anything like it.
I have a question for you. Now, when you see like the glitches in the system or whatever, does that mean that that you know you're in the dream or you're in somebody else's head, or does it bleed together? Maybe you can't tell me,
I
but
can tell you.
okay.
So there's a couple things.
Okay.
First, there are the glitches. This is like Eastern European cyberpunk. So it's
Right.
not meant to be like glitzy Japanese.
Right.
It's meant to be dark, gritty, like the poor. This is like the
Yeah.
lowest dredges of society, scraping by on drugs, and like they're addicted to VR. All these kind of societal problems.
Okay.
Are you see this crumbling apartment building.
Yeah.
So the holograms, like you see a holographic overlay when you go out in the building, but it's like junky, broken down holograms.
Oh, okay.
It's not like clean.
Right. It's not rich people's holograms. These are like the slum holograms. Secondhand, hand-me-down holograms.
Totally. So Dan's got like, he's an observer, and when you do that, that's very mentally taxing on your mind. He has to take a pill every now and then that you control.
Right.
And if you don't take this pill, you're going to start to hallucinate. The screen is going to warp and bend. Things are going to pop out at you. This is in the real world. So your insanity, it's like you're trying to keep your insanity at bay throughout the game.
I might choose not to take the pill though.
Are there
It'd be a trip.
A lot of people do.
Are there any benefits to not taking the pill? Or
I mean, it depends on what you've consumed that day. It might be more enjoyable.
oh, interesting.
As a player.
Caffeine. I mean.
No, I'm like wondering if he gets. I think maybe Swiffer was
And
talking about
inside.
like, do you get visions or like do you get like?
Oh yeah, but in the inside people's minds, that's when all bets are off. They throw the book at you of every psychological, creepy horror thing you can.
That's what I was gonna ask you about next. Was like, how many did you touch on? Like as many fears as you can like get your hands on.
Oh yeah, there's God, I can't even count the number of people that you jack into.
Yeah.
But each one is very different. These are different people. You're gonna jack into a woman who's like a wife, a housewife, and she's like, you're in a maze of like. Washers and dryers, because that's like what her life is. Her worst fear is like being stuck in this domestic.
Right.
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Yeah, so it's very symbolic, and I think you learn more about these people as characters by playing through their heads than I could ever possibly imagine just as a normal narrative story device.
I love it when a psychological or horror game can touch on not just one fear but many different fears. If you can touch on like the fear of being chased and like spiders or like swarms of insects or falling or anything like that. If you can get all of those in one game, man, it's a feat in and of itself.
It's such a trip. I mean, this kind of game it's not a survival horror game. There's no rockets, there's no zombies. You are trying to find your way through people's minds. I've never played anything like that.
Dude.
I've shot a lot of rocket launchers, but I've never gone through an ex-convict's mind and like played through his addiction. So
That's awesome,
we're
man.
pumped. Observer coming PS4, Xbox One, PC, Mac, and Linux this summer.
This summer?
Really, like within the next couple of months.
Coming up soon. We're
Dude,
almost
that's-
ready to lock that date. We're polishing up to the last minute. We're pumped. It could be soon.
Dude, pumped.
When
It'll be warm out. That's
When
all
it's
I
hot
know.
outside,
It'll be hot.
it'll be coming out. Oh, John, thank you so much for showing it to
you,
me. I
guys.
can't
Thank
wait to
you.
get my
Yeah,
hands on it.
sounds sick.
Like I said before, it is right in my wheelhouse. I love sci-fi and I love cyberpunk. It's
We'll
amazing.
get you a build. We'll play.
Thanks, brother.
All right.